this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Gurl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Gurl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Gurl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Gurl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Gurl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Gurl Talk.
Excuse me.
There we go.
I paused it halfway through because I figured, like we're already here and ready to go. Ready to get this Friday on the road. We're a little bit late, but that's we've had it's been interesting not being in the studio together and getting all your stuff squared away, which is not all the way there yet, but we're getting there.
Mm-hmm. My banner. So I'll have it up to the road.
All right, awesome. How'd your banner look?
Oh my goodness. Whatever this is, they did phenomenal. I will be using for other projects in the future. The quality is right, and the colors pop. And if you ever look screen and they show you what the preview looks like.
And then you get it, you're like, that's what it looks like. I ordered one time, and it was a little bit bigger. And I used an SVG file, which is like the best quality file you can use, which is what because when I originally sent it to them on the file I sent it to them, they were like, it's really, we need a cleaner file. And they're like, whoever made your graphics, contact them and see if you, and I said, I made them. And I have the SVG file. I can send you the SVG file. So I did. Oh my God. It was so bad. Like it was so, literally you could see the pixelations in the picture. And it was one I did for Vic's Ranch. And I was like, when you printed this, did you not think to yourself, maybe I shouldn't put this in the box and send it because it looks like dog shit? And needless to say, they did remake it. And what ended up happening, I finally got a call back from the guy, and he said what happened was when they sent the email to me and asked for the SVG file, and I sent it back to them, and he gave the okay to go ahead with the print. The person doing the print never heard there's an SVG file in there, just heard go ahead with the print. So they did the print with the other one. And the reason why is because they had to explode it a little bit more than what I had done on the preview. And which I said, well, then there's a glitch in your system because you should have your markers where it's supposed to go. And then I should be able to see that if it's out of focus, out of view, got enlarged too much and I said, and I didn't move it. I made it to your specs. So it should just pop right in there. And so that was what was happened. Anyway, so they remade it for me, and then they made something else at no charge. But their cost was a lot more money than this one. How we found a company to make that banner, and it's small enough just for you in your office. Obviously, the one we're going to make for the two of us when we go travel somewhere and have our show, then we're going to make it a little bigger. You know, we want it to fit on, a background holder, blah, 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 blah. But we'll get there. We don't need to order it yet. So how have you been this week? We haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of chatting because I know you had a lot of catch up to do. I had doctor's appointments. So we had a little bit going on this week, but how was your week?
We goodness, just catching up on work, and then the had the family emergency, so I've got a lot going on, but I think my stride for me able to handle it because this is being busy is good.
Yeah.
I'm always being thrown in and learning jobs up, which is really cool.
Are you able to come at all closer to a mic, or is there a mic that you can have closer to you, or is it from the computer?
It's from the computer.
Oh, okay. It just you break up quite a bit.
I am so sorry. Be better.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Let's just try. So he's leaving town today, or he already left?
Yeah. Well, I didn't say my dad. Yeah. So my dad came down.
Yeah, your dad's a champ. He comes down to help you when you need it. That's really amazing. Tell your dad thanks. That's great that he's there to support you.
Yeah. Well, he's coming back next week. I have a previous that I did Wednesday. There's I need some help at. So coming back down next week.
Oh, that's good. That's really nice.
Yeah.
So what else do you got going on? You had an impromptu auction that you had to do. How'd that go?
It went really. It was just it.
Oh, that's good. That's always positive. Yeah.
So you've been.
I have been. Out of the two of us, I am the political person. So I have been knee deep in the RNC, and my husband laughed. He goes, "Why aren't you even there? Like, you should be there. That's your thing. Like, you should be there with Girl TauX, have your microphone, just, asking a bunch of questions." Because that's what I've always done. I've always gone to CPAC. I've always gone to the RNC. But of course, that was my MAGA One radio. But Girl TauX, we have a say, a voice in politics. It's right here. And I think the more you hang out with me, the more you have to listen to politics, and you're like, I don't care. I'm like, but you need to care because it's your country. People that don't care are getting screwed.
I have been my mouth. There's a lack of improvements.
Well, the thing is I think there's a lot of people that are not open-minded to even hearing what's being said on one side or the other. And I do try to listen to both sides. I really, really do. But I also research for myself and I look at the facts. So anyway, I have been knee deep in the RNC. And in fact, Monday I'm going to go down to the Republican headquarters and see what I can do to help. I really want to use it on as much as I can in a way that I have the ability to do. So I think it would be kind of cool to go down and interview people down on the street and see what people think, see if people are even paying attention. That's my biggest question. Are you watching? Are you listening? Are you seeing what's happening in politics at all? Because I think that's a bigger question than who are you voting for? Because the people who are already voting for one side or the other already have made up their mind, kind of. Some are changing their minds, but for the most part, most people already have changed their mind. I want to talk to more of the people who are like, I don't even want to listen to it. I don't pay attention to it. I don't care about it because there is a reason to care about it. Our country's going to shit. And if people don't pay attention, they're going to wake up one day in Venezuela.
Would that be a bad thing?
Yeah, because it's... and that's where you get people to do the research. What does that mean? Well, they went from a thriving, wonderful, beautiful country to a dictatorship, and the dictator took away their guns, and they are now, the main people. Some people that have come here from Venezuela are like, you don't want to be us. We're eating our food out of the trash can because we can't eat. They took away their homes. They took away their right to own homes. I mean, that's the stuff that happens in communist country. That's what happened in China so long ago. Anyway, we don't want to end up like that. We don't want to end up being a communist country or, under leadership that doesn't have our best interest. I want everybody to get back to the human right of happiness and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, what the Constitution was built on. That's what I want to see people get back to, and being able to build a business. Corporations have taken over and they squash little businesses, and little entrepreneurs have a right to build a business, and they have a right to thrive in this country, and that's not the way it is right now. So, I think people need to hear from people that they associate with or are familiar with or resonate with. Some of the things that have happened at this RNC were incredible. Do you know who Amber Rose is? Are you familiar with her?
Yes.
Yeah, she's a very famous person. And ironically, I was telling my mom about her yesterday. She started the slut walk. And honestly, I always thought the slut walk was quite entertaining. I didn't think it was a bad thing, but and my mom's like, excuse me, what? And I said, yeah, it's called the slut walk. And I'm like, she's like, can you say that again? And I said, slut. And she's all, oh, that's what I thought you said, but how do you start a walk like that? And I'm like, really, when she started the whole walk, it was meant to talk about, for whatever reason, the sound on that's very high. But the whole point of why she started it in the first place was to combat the idea of slut shaming. You know, it's okay for men to go from woman to woman and do this and do this and do this, but it's not okay for men or for women to do the same. Why is it okay for one but not okay for the other? That's where that started, and that's where it developed. And I thought it was brilliant, to be honest with you. And I'm a conservative Christian woman, and I thought it was brilliant. Of course, I've always been the one that's been on the side of the fat lady who's judging the skinny, pretty, hot chick that's in a bikini and half her boobs are showing, and some of the other stuff is just because she's fat and jealous.
It's always nice to get the outside of here.
You're freezing up. I don't know what you said. Say that again.
You said. Oh, it's okay. I definitely got to work on the audio.
Well, we're working on it. But so what do you think about that walk, the slut walk?
To each his own. I don't think that it. I'm at a loss. I now am myself and. Ay.
Yeah, it's hard. We'll get there. We got a microphone to hook all up, and Steve can help you get that hooked up and walk you through how to get that all hooked up and stuff, and then that should fix the audio part of it. And one step at a time, we're getting things squared away. So anyway, it's not dead air and quiet. Talk when you want, but I'll just explain a little bit. So anyway, she started the slut walk, and the whole purpose of it was just to empower women that you have a right to your sexuality just as much as a man does. And it's not saying promoting being a slut. It was just, you got to do something that gets the attention of people. So it did. It got a lot of attention, actually. And over time, it became the slut walk. They went from just being empowered women and marching and saying we have our right to our sexuality just like a man, and we shouldn't be shamed for finding somebody to have fun with, and if we're not committed, we're not married, we're not, they weren't condoning that type of behavior, but they were condoning, like, do what you want, it's your body, do what you want with whom you want, and you shouldn't be shamed for it. That I kind of agree with. I don't think anybody should be shamed for, being a sexual person or whatever they want to do, but you want equality, let's treat people the same, and men for decades and decades and generation after generation, if when it comes to dating and stuff in a home, a father will go to his boy, that's my boy, and to his daughter, you will not leave this house until you're 35, that kind of thing. And you're like, okay, is that really, you go get him, boy, and don't you go anywhere, girl, so that was the whole premise behind it, is let's empower our women so that they can feel confident in themselves, that kind of thing. And So she got pretty famous from that, and she was already, a TV personality and stuff like that before. And she's African American as well. So, she told her dad what a racist this person is running for office, and he said, no, he is not. And she argued with him, and he said, prove it. Just go find me the proof, and I'll believe you. And she went and did her research and came back and had to say, I was wrong. And she came on publicly at the RNC and announced that she was wrong about what she knew because of what she was told in the media, which I gave her a lot of credit for, because that is a lot of courage to be able to come forward and do something like that.
Well, that kind of reverts to the people that we know book.
Right.
And so our next story. So things we as we get older, we learn to be humble and be appreciative and not responsibility and accept it when we are wrong with our fault. So I think I'm actually experiencing that more my own experience is that I'm so much more tune with how I feel. I think I have them some I'm willing to talk about them and address it and send her the rug and when I'm wrong and expect.
Yeah,
I will learn from it.
Right. Well, and it's easy to say, I don't want to talk about this or I don't want to talk about that, because it's uncomfortable sometimes. And,
comfortable thing.
Yeah.
Because I can change one person they're at in their life. Change.
Yeah.
You're comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You don't want your comfort being disrupted.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want that. It is. And we change as we grow, as we get older, what we like and what we want and what we see and what we hear, our likes and dislikes change, but also things change as we age ourselves. I know that when I was a kid, I'm sure you experienced this too. We're 80s kids, like 80s teenagers. I mean, we're born in the 70s, but we're 80s teenagers. So we listen to hair bands and alternative rock today is not what alternative rock was then. I think they consider that more like punk now. But the music we listened to then, say that again.
I went through a punk phase as well.
I did too. I loved the Sex Pistols. One of my favorite bands, which was the Dead Kennedys. I loved the Dead Kennedys, and and they were really, when you listen to the lyrics, they were really bad. I'm glad they are not a popular thing today, because honestly, they would probably be some of the theme songs for BLM or something, because one of their songs was "The Only Good Cop is a Dead Cop." And when I became a cop, I used to tell my other officers that I worked with the irony of what I used to listen to. But the music we used to listen to, what happened when our parents got in the car? Turn that crap down.
My dad used to say when the radio station, say, my car. Look, I didn't use
my car doesn't get that station. That's funny.
Look, Dad. It was a KOC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't get the state, and they tell you turn that crap off. My dad used to say that's not music. That's sound. That's not music.
Yeah, I took my dad out to last night. Music person. I always got to have music. when I'm with my dad, I always. So when we got my car, a BB playlist on kind of teach people a little bit.
Yeah. It can take you definitely back in time too. Now it definitely does. But I remember that time of that's not music, and now I hear some of the stuff that's coming out now, and I would be the same way if my kid was in the car. I'd be like, turn that crap off. That's not music. I don't know what that is.
The acceptance of in lyrics on the radio when they use thing and now they let some things.
Oh yeah, now there's some things that come across in on the radio or that I go like, how do they even let that through? And you know what throws me a lot is these women who really tout about women and and women's rights. They're trying to put us backwards or something. I don't know what they're doing, but they're singing about stuff like they're wet VJJ and this disgusting thing. And I'm like, is that making you look good? Or is that just, I mean, that perpetuates that slut thing to the nth degree. That takes you from slut to porn star in 30 seconds or less.
With Madonna now, she's getting up their age. Interviews talks about how it's different for her beyond day and sings like a virgin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, things have definitely changed a lot over the years, and the music has changed a lot. People have changed a lot. Not to go back to politics, but politics has changed a lot. Look at how many people are involved in politics now. It is like a new, like you were cool when you were in high school if you were in the band or choir, if that was the school's premise, or you were it if you were on the football team and you were the football star, or you were the star cheerleaders. I went to schools that weren't about the sports. They were about band and choir. So you were a 0 if you weren't in band or choir. And then there's the schools that, and we competed across the country with our stuff. And, in fact, my school played for the inauguration of Ronald Reagan. But we competed, and you were a 0 if you weren't in one or the other. And there were obviously some people that were not in either one. And then the schools that were about sports, if you aren't in the football team or the basketball team and you aren't a cheerleader, you're nothing. You're a 0. And all the different cliques and stuff. Now it's like if you're not involved in politics in school, you're a 0.
Well, I dabble in local politics. Affiliated with the town that I live. So I did many city close in the dynamic of how lower level and it's interesting. I've got a lot of interest.
Yeah, when you start getting interested and you start getting involved, you'll be amazed at what you actually see and hear. So as a journalist, that's how my parents were political. My stepdad and my mom were diplomats. So that obviously had something to do with politics. My dad, it was the best thing. My dad and I used to call and we would have, big discussions about politics. And we were both on the same side, but I'm more of a centrist. I'm kind of more in the center, and I don't believe exactly 100% on this side or 100% on that side. So I would bring a different argument to the table than my dad. And my dad and I used to really have some good good debates about, and it's one of the things I miss the most with my dad being gone, because right now I would be calling my dad to have those political talks and say, Dad, did you see this? And, I call people and go like, hey, did you watch the debate? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, how the fuck can I debate with you about the debate if you didn't even watch the debate? And yes, I am counting how many times I said the word debate. But, I can't talk to my husband about it. He doesn't care. I talk to him anyway. I force feed it down his throat. But when he looks at me and gives me the glazed look over his eyes, I go, hey, I listened to you talk about what you're doing at work for an hour and a half. And I paid attention and stayed focused the entire time. And I have zero interest because I don't work there. And I can't do anything or have anything to say about anything you're doing. What?
Being there for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
There for each other and listen. And sometimes it's supposed to thing. Really.
Right. He just wants to share. Well, actually, he did tell me, I said, do you just want somebody to listen? And he goes, no, actually, you give really good advice of how to handle a negative situation. You give really good advice of how to deal with your leadership. Because some of the issues he has at times has been how the leadership handles a situation. And he's like, you're really skilled in how to solve conflicts and how to solve problems. You're a great problem solver. So a lot of times I come to you with the issues because you'll give me a really good, solid way to think about it from both perspectives. He's like, I'm seeing it only from mine, and I can't ask them because they're my leadership. I can't say, well, what's your problem? Why can't you see it from my point of view? And I go, well, look at it from this point of view. And I give them, what I might think that their point of view might be. And I'm like, remember, and the most of it is he's in the federal government. I'm like, so you're irritated with your leader not, seeing it from your perspective or doing it a specific way or whatever. But you don't know that they might be having somebody ahead of them that is directing what their decisions are going to be. So what their decisions might not be different than yours. They might have the same feeling as you. They can't tell you that because they're your leader. So they have to tell you what's being directed down from above. You're given a direction, a directive. You have to follow that directive. So a lot of those conversations really end up being that good discussion. And he comes away with it quite often with, okay, I have kind of a solution to how I can handle it. Not that I can fix the problem, but here's how I think I can handle it,
Well, it's always nice to be able to have this kind of conversation with this sounding board and the conversation because sometimes I given information that aware of that is and seeing someone else's eyes a little bit bigger and wider. The things that are in front of you. You're always being blind by what's straight in front of you. You're gonna miss what's going on.
Right.
Because you're focused.
Well, and we as human nature, we're focused on what we're interested in. We're focused in our own lives, and we're focused in what we are, what affects us personally. I tell people all the time, look out in the world, and you'll see that people are very myopic right now. Especially right now. They're very myopic. I don't want to see over here or over here because I don't like what's going on over here, and I don't want to hear what's going on over here. So I'm just going to focus on what I need to focus on. And the problem is that focus has become way more narrow. And now they're not seeing anything outside of themselves. And that comes from it comes from instantaneous gratifications of even shopping is that way now. Like, you know, you used to go to the mall and you walk the mall and you see all the different stores. I know when I was younger, we'd go in the mall. You really didn't buy anything till almost you were done at the mall. And then you went back to the one or two stores you liked something in and you bought the thing you liked because you didn't want to buy it at the time because you might find it better somewhere else or something better. And we only had so much money to spend. So it's like, I can't just buy everything I see.
You did we used to do that all the time. And there's stores also up. Not everyone has things. So I am big on memorabilia and some clothes and anything. I couldn't buy any, so I went to single because the store that's at another part better and now I got something I really like. I had to buy. Very
Yeah, and especially if you have like a little budget or whatever. I only have this. I mean, if you came in there with money galore and you could buy whatever you want, that would be a different story. But most of us weren't that way. We were given a certain amount of money, or we had earned a certain amount of money, and that's what we had to spend. So we were, at least my day, I did get more than probably some other kids. My parents did pay me for my grades. I know there's a lot of people out there that disagree with that. They're like, you shouldn't be paid for your grades. But I was paid like $10 for an A and $5 for a B, 0 for a C, negative for a D, and everything wiped out if you got one single F. So I strived to get good grades, and now I did push that a little further than was originally discussed, because I would come home with a test with an A on it and tell my dad, give me $10. And he was like, no, it's for your report card. I'm like, you never stipulated that. You said $10 for an A. You did not say stipulated when your report card comes. So I knew how to get that much better, because every time we had an exam, a test, a quiz, a report that we had to turn in, anything, if I got an A, I came back, look, I got an A, and I $10. And then, of course, since my parents were divorced, I double dipped. So I get $10 from my dad and $10 from my mom, and I would give the same argument both times. Well, we meant your report card. You didn't stipulate that. And I let me show you. I wrote it down when you said it. Date and time and stamped in my journal. And my parents would be like, that's not fair. And I said, well, we can bring it up at the next board meeting and you guys can vote on it. I mean, that's the way I was as a kid. So can you imagine how I am as an adult, why I'm the way I am? Because I was doing politics in my house. We'll bring that up at the next board meeting, and those board meetings, guess what, never happened. But at the same time, I might have had a little bit more than other people. I was also quite the entrepreneur, so to speak, as a younger person. Because I had a gas card. My parents gave me a gas card. They paid my insurance. They bought my car. Yes, I was a privileged kid. And they gave me a gas card to pay for my fuel for my car. And, but if you got in my car, it was $5. Give me $5. if my friends knew that, then they'd be pissed. They're like, I gave you $5 every time we went somewhere in your car, and you had a gas card you didn't even have to pay for. Hey,
well, I charge, and I charge at the door.
Okay, yeah. I actually recall a couple of those.
Remember.
Yeah, I do. And you know what? I had $5. I probably had
$5 get my car.
Yeah,
$40.
I did. I would make $40 going to the party if I brought, enough people. And I'm telling you, you can squeeze an awful lot of people into a Mustang.
Well,
You can get 2 to 3 in the front seat. You can get 2 to 3 in the front seat and about 6 to 8 in the back seat and a couple in the trunk. So, you can fit an awful lot of people in that car. You want to hear a funny car story? So I don't remember what happened, but we had one of those. I called it the banana boat, but we had one of those station wagons where in the back it had the flip up seats in the back. And did you? That's right. We talked about that. Yep. And ours was white, and we even had a car phone in it. When the car phones first came out, the big old hunkin' things, not the brick that you held. It was actually the car phone where it had its little, Would you two quit licking the crap out of yourselves? You're driving me nuts. Anyway, what I ended up doing was I was making fun of my stepdad about the banana boat. And I was like, oh, you have a banana boat. And I was giving him a real hard time about it and teasing him and everything. And he's like, you better watch out, watch what you're saying. And I was like, and then I would brag about my Mustang. And I'm like, I have a 66 Mustang. So, you go drive your banana boat. Well, he wanted to teach me a lesson on the banana boat. So the next day I got up to go to school, and my keys were not on my nightstand where I keep my keys to my car, but his keys were. And I went outside, my car was gone, and the banana boat was there, and a note saying, make fun of my car again. And I was like, oh, crap, I have to drive the banana boat to school? How embarrassing is this going to be? Went to school, and we used to get off lunch and we could go out and go eat. And so we were going to go eat, and everybody's running out to the parking lot, and everybody's trying to figure out whose car they can get into and stuff. And I'm embarrassed. Like, I don't even want anybody to know I have the banana boat. I went from a cool car to I went from a hero to a zero. And I was like, I don't want anybody to even see me getting in it. And then somebody saw me getting in it, and they're like, hey, everybody go to Tori's car. She's got a big old car. We can all fit. And sure enough, they all ran to my car. And we filled the front seat. We filled the back seat. We filled the very back. And by the time we got back from lunch, we had remodeled the back of that car to turn it into a hot tub. And yeah, like we hadn't actually done it. We just came up with, well, what we could do is we can line it with a tarp, and we can fill it with hot water. And, we were going to cruise down the road with our hot tub in the back. And, yeah, no, this was Sacramento, but I mean, like we could actually do that. The water would be cold in 5 minutes. We don't have it. We're kids, okay? We're stupid. But we didn't actually do it. We just came up with all these ideas, and it was so amazing because the amount of people that fit in that car for lunch was incredible. Like half the student body was in my car. We went and we had food. We came back. And I came home that day. This is the best part about the story, though, is we came home that day, and he's like, yeah, So, what's it like now that you had to take the banana boat? I said, oh, you can keep my car. I'll just take the banana boat. And he's like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to turn the back into a hot tub. And, I think there was like 30 people in the car on the way to lunch. And he's like, give me my keys.
And all how change things. You had to drive a real well. You were going to make that better.
Yeah. Well, and it's been my ability my entire life is to turn something negative into a positive. My husband says I am always the person who always sees the silver lining. I always see the good in people. I always see the good in things. I see the end result. If I have a vision for something, my husband has a hard time, if I come up with an idea to, a design that I'm making in my shop, I'm like, I want to make this. And he's like, that doesn't even make sense until I can give him what it's supposed to look like at the end. And, like a picture I did that was a black silhouette. And I was like, so what I want to do is take the picture that normally you would paint on, and I'm like, I want to take it apart, and then I want to invert it, and I want to put the canvas on the back and put the wood on the, and he's like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, trust me, it'll look really cool. And he's like, this.
Sometimes when I feel like I a little bit of that I use that my energy.
Yeah.
That pushes me to do better. You want to make sense to you?
Oh yeah.
And you'll see.
Oh yeah, I use that negative energy to fuel my energy, or as they say, tell me I can't, and I'll show you I can. And like, excuse me, so sorry. When I'm having a hard time with something, or I'm having a hard time with myself, if I go and I'm feeling, like a failure, or I'm feeling really bad about myself, and, the depression is kicking in, or the enemy in my head is saying you're no good or whatever. And if I go and I start creating something and I start making something, my husband has finally learned that when I'm in that space where I'm feeling bad about myself, and I don't like myself, and I'm unhappy with who I am, and I really am bashing myself, he's like, that's the time for me. He's like, what I've learned is it doesn't work to tell you, no, you're really a great person. You're really wonderful. You're really smart. You're beautiful. You look good. And gosh darn it, people like you. I got that from SNL, if you recall that. But that doesn't work for me. If you can tell me over and over, you're amazing, you're great, you're smart, you're wonderful, you're this, and I'm like, you're full of shit, you're full of shit, you're full of shit, you're full of shit. And that's all I hear in my head is he's wrong, or whoever it is I'm talking to. But what he's learned is, okay, you know what? Let's get out of this mood for a minute. And he'll just take me by the hand and like, let's go out to the shop. And we start working on a project. And then all of a sudden I'm out of it because I'm like, okay, well, what if we do this and we do this? And he knows that that's how to get me out of that mindset of negativity by just forcing me into going, let's go create something. Let's go make something. Let's go work on a project. I mean, you've been to our house. We have projects. There's always a project.
Your barn, whatever you want to call it, is like a Michael's.
Oh yeah.
Whatever project you want,
Yeah, literally you can walk in there and go, so do I want to do woodworking? Do I want to go weld something? Do I want to break some glass and make some glass stuff? Do I want to, I mean, the
very, very sheesh.
Yeah, it is it's the ultimate she shed, I guess you could say.
You're also very in a relationship with your husband where he's able to like being and yin and or he may be strong and vice versa. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Recognize you are your own Sabbath, and when you do get into that, it's really key. Part is able to understand how you're feeling, how to handle it, because that's part of their relationship. Yeah. And that's very admirable.
It really is. And I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't like that. I mean, there's, it's been a long time, but a long time ago, I had a really, really bad time with myself. And, he walked in and I was literally like pulling at my hair and I was smacking myself in the head. I was so upset. I was feeling so bad about myself and feeling like such a failure. And we ended up in a giant fight over it because his idea of fixing it is, you're not that way. Stop it. And I'm like, I can't just stop it. It's not like a freaking water faucet. I can just turn it off. This is how I feel about myself right now. And nothing he was saying was working because it was just, and knock it off. And that's when we ended up in a fight because he was literally yelling at me, knock it off. Stop it. That
due to somebody who is a mental is you can't tell someone which is work.
No, because I got madder and madder, and then I hated myself even more because I was mad at somebody who cared about me, and it was like a really bad spiral for me, and I was in severe depression. I was going through a lot at the time as well, but and he didn't understand that the best way for me to handle it is my art and creating and talking it through. Talk about what's going on. Talk about he didn't like to talk about what's bothering you. He didn't like to talk about what's bothering him. He wasn't raised that way. You really just didn't talk about problems. And I talk about things, and that's how I am. And, what started it in the first place is I was trying to talk about something and I saw his eyes glazing over like, I don't want to even hear this. And it made me feel like what I was saying was not valid. And then where my head went is, I'm not valid. I'm not worthy. I'm not a good person. I'm a piece of garbage. And you start telling yourself all these negative things about yourself. And it's part of the mental health issues that I deal with on a regular basis. I have to, and sometimes I have to have somebody who says, get up and let's go make something. Let's go do something, because I will get into where I don't even want to leave the house. I don't want to do anything. I have zero motivation. And it's not that I'm not a good person. It's not that I'm not a smart person. It's not that I'm not capable. It's not that I'm not viable. It's not any of those things, because I know those things. But my back of my head, my psyche, whatever pounds me down, is trying to convince me that none of those things are true. You're a failure. We are. We're our own worst enemy.
that's a challenge, and I think society those changes self destruction.
Yeah.
Don't have one needs to be found, and that's in that good. We lack that dopamine. We be very hard on ourselves. So we have something in our mind or in our relax us feel good. We're doing in our wit. And even listening to music
Yeah.
get you out of that.
Making music.
Actually, animals.
Yep.
Are so piano.
My animals can pull me out of it because, I suddenly have to, okay, I got to go feed you or whatever. And, there's times that I'm hurting or I'm having a hard time or whatever. And pardon me.
Let's see. Woo.
Did you, I hope you didn't hear that. I tried to mute it real quick, but I don't think I was fast enough. I was trying to mute it more than move away from it. You saw him a little bit, but I have 2 rabbits as well, and a hamster. It's not my hamster; it's my exchange daughter's hamster. But now I guess I'm stuck with it. If I'm really having a moment and I need that animal affection or whatever, I can go into the bunny room, and my dog Charlotte can go in there with me. She loves the bunnies. They're her favorite thing. And I can sit on the floor I have one of those, you remember those old pillows rounded and they have the little thing on the side and you can put them up against the couch or the wall and sit on them, and it gave you kind of a backrest. Yeah. I have a couple of those, so I keep one in the bunny room so that if I go in there, I can sit on the floor with them, and they just jump all over me and climb on you. And of course, Peter's up there looking for a treat. Lulu is not going to come. She barely comes around. She likes Charlotte more than she likes a human. And Charlotte's a predator to her. She's like, this is a big, she probably looks like a big giant wolf or something. But they love her and they go up to her and she licks them and stuff. I've had to tell her a few times, stop licking them to death, because she really wants to kiss the bunnies, and she wants to mother them. That's what it is. She thinks she's their mother. And when she's in there, she wants to mother them. She herds them. She moves them around. She follows them and chases them. And of course, I get a little nervous, like, let's not let them run too much, because if this turns into a game, they're going to lose. And I don't want my rabbits being tortured by my dog. But she never does. She loves on them. She licks them. And in fact, the other day, I had to clean the hamster cage out. Oh, God. Hopefully my exchange... Emma, I'm sorry. I'm looking up at you. Emma, I'm sorry if you get upset with me about this, but yes, she was in there and I had to clean the hamster cage. So I took the hamster out of the cage and put him in his ball, and he was running around the floor. I now have this theory that if you want to teach a dog how to play soccer, put a hamster in a ball and the dog will learn how to play soccer, because she started hitting the ball with her paws. And I was like, stop hitting the ball, don't hit. And the next thing you know, this hamster goes rolling across the bunny room. And I was like, okay, don't do that. Well, anyway, she stopped. She listens to me. She does very good. And she stopped hitting the ball. So he was just running everywhere. But he runs and he bashes into walls, turns around and goes the other way. Well, he was over by the door and he bashed into the door, and the door on his little ball came off. So he came out of the ball. And then next thing you know, I hear this squealing noise. And I'm like, oh shit. And I turn around and I'm thinking, I am going to turn around to a bloody hamster in my dog's mouth. That's what I'm going to turn. Yeah, that's where my head went immediately because he's screaming, he's squealing. And I turn around and she's tongue licking up his face and hit his back. And he was soaking wet from her licking the crap out of him. She didn't try to eat him at all. And my husband would say she just wanted to taste. And I'm like, but she was just licking him to death, and I picked him up and put him back in his cage, and I was pretty much done anyway. But she didn't hurt him in any way. I checked him out and make sure, that wasn't a bite and just slobbery bite, but it wasn't. She just licked him a lot, and that's the way she is with the bunnies. Every time she's near the bunnies, she just wants to lick about all over them. She wants to give them a bath and she wants to mother them. And, but if I'm having a hard time, I can go in the bunny room and boy, you talk about puppies being healing. Now puppies are probably a little bit better and a little bit more than bunnies because bunnies by nature are not going to pounce on you. Like if you sat in a room with 2 or 3 puppies, they're going to be all over you and just licking your face. Bunnies are a little more subdued, but they're fun when they do come over and hop over to you and you pet them and stuff. And mine are pretty soft and fuzzy, and Charlotte loves them and they love Charlotte. So they come over to her. So it is a way for me to get out of my head, or take Charlotte to her favorite place on planet Earth. And,
cool.
Yeah, exactly. Take her to the pool and throw a toy, and that'll snap me out of it. So I have to know the things that will help me on my own, but it's taken me a long time to get there.
Yeah. I totally understand that journey.
And that's
I think with most people as during we're at in your life where if you don't like me, if you have a problem with me, if you don't want to about it, look. Right. I mean, I don't have to be around or talk people who are negative. I want EDG that want to. And I'm going way. As they say, there's no. I'm forward.
Yeah, I don't want to be around anyone that's negative, but unless you can help them come out of the negativity. But I don't want to be around those people who see nothing but bad, and also the people who want to cause drama. They thrive on being, there's certain people in the world that they thrive on the drama. They thrive on hurting people.
So that is normal.
Say that again.
I said because that's all. Because that is normal.
Right, that's normal to them. And when you find things that are normal to people, and those are also the people that they are never going to pat you on the back. They are never going to give you an accolade for doing something good because generally speaking, they're quite often narcissists because they only want accolades for themselves, not for others. And they are the first to bring out the bad and point out the bad and find the ugly, make drama, cause problems. They thrive on what's that phrase I've heard so many times? I can't remember, but it's about thriving in this cesspool of crap. They like that place. They like to be in that place. And the reason I kind of brought it to that point is, that's why we talk about mental health, addiction, and sobriety and all the things that are attached to it, because you can help yourself by seeing the signs, finding solutions for yourself. I have found some of the solutions for myself. I need to create something, or I need to talk about it. And the more we get our channel moving, that's probably one of those things I'll do. I'll probably just come on live, and whoever's out there that can listen to me talk about whatever's bothering me, whatever's affecting me, I'm just going to talk about it. And, maybe somebody out there will give something in and say, hey,
Are the dogs okay?
Oh, okay. So, I'm not sure what the echo is. I don't hear it, so I don't know what the echo is.
That was a message that was sent.
Yeah, I didn't see it until just now, but the thing is, and I'm sure part of the echo might be on your end. Do you have our show playing somewhere there where you're able to see it? Okay. So I don't know where the echo is coming from. But once we get your stuff hooked up, it'll be much better.
And thank you for letting know, hearing, because we know what don't know what so thank you.
Right. Well, and a lot of it might be because of the computer and not having an actual mic hooked up, because that's a huge thing. Because I have to kind of read your lips some of the time to even know what you're saying. I can see the words coming out of your mouth. I can't hear them, but I can see them. So I'm like, good thing I can sort of somewhat read. Not to continue this because it's time to go, but that came about from being a journalist.
Oh, reading lips?
Because I had to learn how to go, what did he say over there? Because then it would give me a lead to a story that might be happening, because what they're saying in front of the mic, but when they lean over to the constituent that they're talking to and they're like, I want to know what you just said to them. So I started really paying attention to their mouths and what they were saying. And man, I'd go to court hearings and I had attorneys that are like, how did you, because it would be in my story what was said between the attorney and the defendant. And they're like, how did you get that? Because I didn't say that publicly. I'm like, oh yeah, I read your lips. So it got around that when I was in a court and I was covering a court case, it would get around where you'd see the attorneys talking to their clients like this, because they knew I was going to read their lips and I was going to get the information. And I even at one point in time thought, hey, I should bring someone who's deaf as my typist to type out the stuff and just watch for me and read everybody's lips, because they're much faster at it than I am. But I got really good at reading lips and knowing what people are saying. And, then they'd come to me and be like, okay, if you just don't do this, I'll just tell you what's going on. Can you just keep it under your hat for a minute until we're ready for this to be released? Because they couldn't help but, I'd be at a crime scene reading all the cops' lips. And once the sheriff found out I knew how to do that, he was like, okay, I can't have everybody walking around like this. But can you just hold that in your hat for a minute? Because we can't have this out publicly yet or whatever. So
I was going to say, there's a fun where about like privilege between the client and the attorney.
Yeah. Well, if it's in a public courthouse and you have the capabilities. I never got in trouble for it, never got admonished for it by the judge or anything, because I could read your lips. If you didn't want me to, it's kind of like, if you don't want people to see your cards, don't show your cards. And they did try to get me in trouble. They did try to get me in trouble for it. And they said, were you in a private place? And they were like, no. And they said, well, if you weren't in a private place, you really can't say anything. She's able to figure out what you were saying. She was able to figure out what you're saying. You weren't in a private room. If you had something that was that serious, that private, you should have asked to be excused to go talk to your client. Because anyone's around. Somebody behind you could have just overheard you, period, and gone to the media to tell. And that happened quite often too. So, I mean, you never know who's going to be there. I was in a murder case one time, and I specifically set a person that was there to take notes for me right behind the defendant. On his side of the room. They don't know who's all there, and there's nothing against that. And that person was just sitting there, and every time the attorney talked, she just wrote down what she heard. And most of it was irrelevant, and it didn't mean anything anyway. It was more like, don't worry about that one. We'll get him in the next question, that kind of thing. But I still had somebody there getting every single thing that was being said so that I could have it if I needed it. Now, that's, but again, going back, and this is just to finish off, if you have difficulty, if you're having hard times and you have those mental health breaks and you have those moments, I'm constantly on a roller coaster. And you find that thing that can help you. It took me many years to find that creating or talking. Well, I've always been a talker, so that's probably why talking helps me. But because I've been a talker my whole life. But find that thing that can help you and use it. Use it. And it not being a substance, because a substance isn't actually going to help you deal with anything. It's just going to hide it for a minute, and it's going to be there compounded with more when you come out of it. So that is not what I'm saying by use it. Use tools that can help you to face, address, sometimes just talking about it to someone. Find something that you both kind of like, whether it's politics or something else, a book, and find a way to debate with somebody. Debating with somebody on a topic, even if it's a topic you both agree on. If 5 people see an accident, they're going to see it 5 different ways. And all 5 might be correct. So find something you both are kind of in together with and debate about it. Say, okay, I want to debate you on this. And it could be about how to cook spaghetti. And you'd be surprised at how many, oh no, you can't do that. You have to do this. You got to do that. You got to put the salt in the water. You got to put a little oil. No, I don't put the oil in the water. You could debate over and over about how to do something or how to talk, and that can help you work through a problem that you're dealing with. Just a little way for, way I handle some things. If it can help you, that's great. If it doesn't, find a different solution. Anyway, it was Freestyle Friday. Our Fridays are going to be Freestyle Friday, where we don't really have a topic. We're just going to kind of rabbit hole around. But we're always going to keep mindful of what we're here for in the first place. And we're here to help each other heal. We're here to help you heal. We're here to pray and hope for the healing of our friend, as well as anyone else out there that's suffering from addiction or is lost and feels alone and that they are suffering. that there are people out there that are your cheerleaders like us. We're going to be here to cheer you on and pray for your success and hope for you to always get better. And every day can be a step towards success, and every day can be a step backwards. So you can take the wins and just move them to where you have more wins than losses. And pretty soon you have so many wins, you forget the losses. That's where you need to head.
And don't forget, ask for help.
Exactly.
Don't
ask for help. There are so many people out there.
Relative, a stranger.
Honestly, I've heard asking a stranger for advice is some of the best things that you can do, because you know what? They'll be the most honest with you. If you walk up to a stranger and say, "How does my hair look?" If you just got it cut, they're going to be way more honest with you than your family or friends. If you just bought an outfit and you want to really know whether it looks good on you, go ask a stranger, because they'll be way more honest than somebody who wants to make you feel good. They don't know you. They don't give a crap. They're like, "That looks disgusting." Or come to me, I'll tell you, it's not the jeans that make your fat ass look fat. It's your fat ass that makes your fat ass look fat. I know, so mean, so cruel. Anyway, on that note, we love you all. Peace out. We're going to end with, of course, as we always do, our song here for our friend. We love you all. Have a great day, and thank you so much for everything.
We were close but drifted so far apart. Once bright eyes, I'm now lost in the dark, trying to reach you, but you're fading, following deeper shadows invading. How can I pull you back? My friend, friends for 50 years, can we make it to 52? Oh, no, now since you went down to the tracks, now I can't find you. You used to be my friend, my friend. We searched for you in the shadows through the tears we shed. We cried for you in the shadows through the tears we shed. We found you dirty, a bottle in your hand, in the shadows through the tears we shed. In the shadows, tears we shed, 'cause we knew what lay ahead. The bottle held tight in your grip. We saw your light begin to slip. It's like a battle you fought, but you've already lost. When you bought the poison that tore you apart. My sister, I searched for you in the shadows through the tears I shed. I climbed over barbed wire to find you in the shadows through the tears I shed. I found you in your pile of rocks and I hugged you in the shadows through the tears I shed. It's like a battle you fought, but you've already lost. When you bought the poison that tore you apart. My daughter, we flew over the ocean to save you. In the shadows through the tears we shed. We begged you to embrace us. In the shadows through the tears we shed. We had to leave you with deep regrets. In the shadows through the tears we shed. It's like a battle you fought, but you've already lost. When you bought the poison that tore you apart. And my mother, we've begged and we've pleaded in the shadows through the tears we shed. We prayed and we've bargained in the shadows through the tears we shed. We had to walk away for our own sanity in the shadows through the tears we shed. It's like a battle you fought, but you've already lost. When you bought the poison that tore you apart. My child, I sent friends to love you, but you turned on them. In the shadows through the tears they shed, I forgave you for the hurts you've caused. In the shadows through the blood I shed, send you signs there is light in the darkness. But you turn away, yet we all cry. In the shadows through the tears we shed.